It is 3 in the morning somewhere in the Serengeti. The plain is dark. The wildebeest are sleeping standing up. The zebras have not moved in hours. And then, a sound, low at first, building from somewhere deep in the chest of something large. It rolls across 8 kilometers of open grassland like a physical force. Felt before it is fully heard. Every sleeping animal wakes instantly. Every head turns in the same direction. Nobody runs. Nobody moves. Because running is not the answer when what just made that sound is already everywhere. That sound is a border, a law, a reminder of who this land belongs to. Tonight, we explain why that matters more than you ever imagined. There is a moment, witnessed by rangers and researchers across the African savanna, that never loses its impact no matter how many times it is seen. A lion steps out of the tall grass at dusk and stands at the edge of an open plain. It does not charge. It does not hunt. It simply stands there, and everything around it, the zebras, the wildebeest, the impalas, stops. Every animal within sight range freezes. The birds go quiet. Even the air seems to change quality. That stillness, that total reorganization of the landscape around a single animal's presence is not fear in the ordinary sense. It is recognition, the ecosystem recognizing its own architect, because the lion is not simply a predator that lives in Africa. It is the force that holds Africa's grasslands together, and without it, that grassland and everything living inside it begins to collapse. The lion's scientific name is Panthera leo. It is the second largest wildcat on Earth after the tiger, and the only truly social member of the entire big cat family. An adult male can weigh up to 250 kilograms, carry a mane that signals health and genetic quality to every lion in the region, and produce a roar that carries across 8 kilometers of open plain. But numbers alone do not capture what a lion is. What a lion is, fundamentally, is a system. A biological system so integrated into the African savanna that the ecosystem did not simply evolve alongside it. The ecosystem evolved around it, with it, because of it. Remove the lion, and you are not removing a predator. You are removing the keystone from an arch that has been standing for millions of years. A pride of lions is one of nature's most sophisticated social structures. Unlike the tiger, which requires no assistance and tolerates no company, the lion has built its entire survival strategy around cooperation. A large pride can contain up to 30 individuals, adult females who do the majority of the hunting, adult males who defend the territory and the cubs, and successive generations of young lions learning the skills and social rules that determine whether they survive to adulthood. The females of a pride are typically related, sisters, mothers, daughters, aunts, bound together not just by genetics but by shared experience and mutual dependence. They have hunted together. They have defended cubs together. They have survived droughts and territorial invasions together. That history produces a coordination during hunts that has no equal among land predators. When a pride hunts, it does not simply react to whatever prey is nearest. It reads the landscape with a collective intelligence that distributes roles across individuals based on experience, physical capability, and position. Some lionesses act as wings, flanking the target herd from the sides to prevent escape in those directions. Others drive from behind. Others wait ahead at the point where the geometry of the chase will deliver the prey. The coordination happens without visible communication, executed through years of shared experience and an understanding of each other's positioning that operates at a level below conscious thought. A buffalo herd of 500 animals can be broken apart, a specific individual isolated, and that individual brought down in darkness on open ground by a coordinated group of animals that weigh less than half what their target weighs. That is not instinct alone. That is something that deserves to be called strategy. The prey the lion takes and the way it takes it directly shapes the behavior and distribution of every herbivore species on the savanna. This is the mechanism that ecologists call the landscape of fear, and it is one of the most important ecological processes operating in any predator-prey system on Earth. When lions are present and active in a region, wildebeest and zebra and buffalo do not simply graze wherever the grass is best. They graze with awareness of where lions have been seen, where the cover is thick enough to hide an ambush, which water sources are exposed and which are sheltered. They move more. They stay in denser groups. They avoid certain areas at certain times. This behavioral modification, driven entirely by the presence of lions, prevents the kind of concentrated, sustained overgrazing that destroys grassland root systems and triggers desertification. The lion does not manage the grassland by intention. It manages it through presence, through the weight of what it is and what every other animal knows it is capable of. Beyond prey behavior, the lion shapes the entire scavenger community of the African ecosystem. A lion kill is not a private meal. It is an ecological event. Within hours of a large kill, the landscape around it reorganizes completely. Vultures descend from altitudes of thousands of feet, having spotted the activity from distances that stretch beyond human comprehension. Hyenas move in from surrounding territories, calculating numbers against the size of the pride. Jackals wait at the periphery for the moment when larger animals are distracted. Marabou storks stand at the edges. Ravens and other birds work around every gap. A single lion kill feeds dozens of species across multiple days, distributing energy and nutrients through the scavenger hierarchy in a cascade that reaches organisms as small as dung beetles processing the final remnants into the soil. The lion does not know it is feeding all of these other lives, but it is. Every kill is a community event, and the lion is the involuntary provider that makes it possible. There is a village in Kenya's Masai Mara region where an elder named Ole Tunai has spent his entire life, more than 70 years, watching lions move through the landscape his family has occupied for generations. He has seen lions take cattle. He lost a cousin to a lion attack when he was a young man. He carries that grief still. And when researchers ask him whether lions should be protected, whether the effort and the cost and the loss are worth it, he answers without hesitation. He says that when the lions were here in numbers, the grass was deep and the cattle were fat and the rains came reliably. He says that in the years when lions were scarce, when poisoning and hunting reduced the local population, the wildebeest stayed too long in the same places, and the grass came up thin and the cattle struggled. He is not a scientist. He has no access to the peer-reviewed literature on trophic cascades and predator-prey dynamics. But he has watched the same piece of land for 70 years, and he has seen what the data confirms, that the lion's presence changes everything downstream. He knows what science has only recently been able to measure. The lion's roar is not simply sound, it is territorial architecture. A roaring male lion is drawing boundaries in the air, invisible lines that other lions read and respond to across kilometers of darkness. These boundaries organize the landscape into defended territories within which prey populations can stabilize and recover between hunting events. Without those boundaries, without the organization that territorial predation imposes on the ecosystem, prey populations would distribute differently, vegetation would be impacted differently, and the entire spatial structure of the savanna food web would lose its organizing logic. The roar of a lion at 3 a.m, carrying across the Serengeti under a sky full of stars, is not just one of the most primal sounds in the natural world. It is the sound of an ecosystem maintaining its own order. There are approximately 20,000 lions remaining in the wild across Africa. 20,000. A century ago, that number was closer to 200,000. The same forces that have reduced every large predator on Earth, habitat loss, prey depletion, direct killing by human communities protecting livestock, trophy hunting, and the slow fragmentation of the wild spaces these animals require, have reduced the lion to a fraction of its former presence across the continent. In West Africa, the situation is particularly critical. Lion populations there have collapsed to the point where isolated groups of a few dozen individuals survive in disconnected pockets of protected land, too small and too separated from each other for healthy long-term genetic exchange. These populations are not simply endangered. They are in the early stages of a process that ends in local extinction if nothing changes. The loss of lions from an ecosystem is not an aesthetic loss, not simply the sadness of a magnificent animal disappearing. It is a functional loss, a mechanical failure in a system that took millions of years to build. The prey populations explode. The grasslands are overgrazed. The vegetation that holds the soil together is stripped away. The soil erodes. The water retention capacity of the land drops. Rivers run differently. The cascade of consequences that follows the removal of an apex predator moves through an ecosystem the way a structural failure moves through a building, slowly at first, then suddenly, and then in ways that are very difficult to reverse. The lion does not know any of this. It does not understand its own ecological importance. It knows its pride. It knows its territory. It knows the particular quality of the air just before a successful hunt when everything is aligned and the prey is close and the grass is still. It has known these things for 2 million years, and for 2 million years, simply by being what it is, it has held one of the most complex and beautiful ecosystems on Earth in a balance that nothing else can replicate. And that is the lion. Not just a predator, not just a symbol, but a force of nature that the world cannot afford to lose. In our next video, we are beginning something special, a complete series on the snakes of the world, every species, every continent, every form of danger, beauty, and biological wonder that the snake family contains, from the deadliest vipers to the most extraordinary constrictors, from the jungles of Asia to the deserts of Africa to the forests of the Americas. If you do not want to miss a single video in that series, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit the bell, because the snake series is coming, and it is going to be unlike anything we have done before.